Hi, Cassie.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, creepy people.
Hello.
Hello. This is PNW, Haunts and Homicides, where we chat about true crime, the paranormal, and all things spooky in the Pacific Northwest.
Those were my spooky fingers.
Or the PNW.
If you're nasty. And we do a tarot reading at the end of every episode for a little deeper insight into our topic.
That's a thing.
I said that really fast. It kind of sounded like I said tarot reading.
Tarot reading.
We do tarot cards. We do witchcraft here. If you don't like it, skedaddle.
Boy.
We also slip into English accents that are probably terrible, but we can't help it.
Sometimes I think that we get a little bit confused because there are so many parts of the world that speak with some iteration of a British accent.
Yes.
You know?
And we're not making fun. We're appreciating.
No, we love it. All right. Benjamin Jeffrey Smith was born on November 28th, 1978 in Concord, Massachusetts, and grew up in Indiana before relocating to Portland, Oregon as an adult.
Ah, the PNW.
Us. Around that same time is when he began getting involved in the furry community, adopting the persona of a small male bunny and the nickname Pollybun or Pollyhead. According to a tweet posted by Drake the Sheep, quite the alias,
Okay.
Pollybun was one of the original founders of the #BabyFur IRC channel on Furnet.
I don't know if I like that.
It's a whole string of words that didn't mean a lot to me at the start of this. Had to do a little bit of digging.
I would imagine so. Yeah. I don't know what any of that means, but
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. As a gay man and practicing furry, he's probably one of the last guys you'd expect to get red-pilled. But from there, it's a pretty predictable tale of misogyny and hate in the most heinous forms. He also fell down the rabbit hole of COVID conspiracy theories and became staunchly anti-mask.
Wait, did you do that on purpose?
What?
He fell down the rabbit hole because he dressed like a bunny?
Oh, I didn't. I think rabbit hole is just like, yes, it's so extremely associated with this case. I feel like in ways that aren't going to be clear at this point other than the obvious, but
that's pretty funny though. Okay.
Throughout lockdown, he was chronically online complaining about the Black Lives Matter movement and Antifa and spewing anti-Semitic rants.
My favorite.
He was enraged by protests in the city of Portland. According to a former roommate, he believed that extreme violence rather than peaceful protest was the only way of making oneself heard. He hated protests about racial violence and injustice in particular. The city of Portland made headlines all over the country for a number of them that took place during the pandemic. And you may have heard the city being mentioned again recently by the Cheeto in Chief.
Oh, I hadn't heard.
Mm-hmm. It's a lawless place.
Yes.
So let's talk about public demonstrations. Dissent, particularly those aimed at peaceful community action. Corking is the practice of protecting marchers from traffic by placing one's car, bike, or body to create a physical barrier near intersections and cross streets.
Okay.
I was able to observe several minutes of footage with detailed explanations of how the practice is designed to keep the community moving safely. Corking, it's important to note, is a volunteer action for protecting those participating in peaceful protest or demonstrations. Both words are used kind of interchangeably. In some contexts, I feel like it can be helpful to say demonstration as opposed to protest because the connotation just can be very different.
Right, yeah.
But I digress. The term should not be confused with kettling, a police crowd control tactic where officers surround and contain a group of demonstrators.
Right.
That brings us to my new hyperfocus and obsession: forensic architecture. And I promise there's a good reason I'm talking about it, because I'm going to talk about it for a minute and you might think that I've gone insane. And you're not entirely wrong, but I do have a good reason. Forensic architecture is a research agency based at Goldsmiths, University of London, that investigates human rights violations using architectural and media analysis. The organization has received awards like the Right Livelihood Award, otherwise known as the Alternative Nobel Prize, and a Peabody Award for co-creating an entire new academic field and emergent media practice.
That sounds super impressive.
It pretty much is. Their apartment smells of rich mahogany and many leather-bound books.
I like the alternative Nobel Peace Prize.
Right? Their work has even been admitted as evidence in legal processes in various jurisdictions, including the US, UK, and other parts of Europe, as well as Israel and South America.
Wow.
Yeah.
Making
They've got
an
a
impact.
lot of really interesting stuff coming out of Israel and Ukraine right now.
Oh,
So
I bet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really, really highly suggest. Obviously, for the purposes of time management and adulting, I've only been able to dive into so many of their different resources, and but really, really highly recommend, if you're interested in checking it out, that you do. They're basically a badass globe-trotting organization that uses digital 3D modeling for human rights investigation and documentary purposes.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, when you see those shitty 3D model reenactments in, all kinds of documentaries and,
Yeah.
these are not that.
Ooh.
They are impressive, and I was pretty fucking excited.
Nice.
As an organization operating in a highly sensitive area, they have faced criticisms regarding their methodologies and potential bias, particularly in contexts of political conflicts. And I think that's fair. We should examine organizations in these types of spaces critically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though in this case, such criticism has largely come from NGO Monitor, which has itself been criticized by academic figures, diplomats, and journalists for allowing its research and conclusions to be driven by politics, for not examining far-right NGOs, which is a string of words that you shouldn't, they don't.
I didn't like it.
Nope. And for spreading misinformation. NGO Monitor is a Jerusalem-based organization that promotes largely pro-Israel viewpoints. The leader of the organization has ties to the Israeli government, having served as a consultant. Curiously, this and other similar information has been omitted from his official profiles that are published in English.
Oh, of course.
And I'm done obsessing over. I had to really look into this because I was like, forensic architecture is so cool.
That is really cool.
But I need to know, what is the legitimacy of this?
Yeah.
Because the last thing that I want to do is think that I've come across something that is shining a light, and it's really just shitting into a, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I don't even know.
Shitting into a 3D model?
Yeah, shitting into a 3D model. Yeah, exactly. But I'm providing so much context on the background of the organization, and maybe it's overkill, but it's because I think not only is what forensic architecture doing really remarkable, but their resources were so helpful. It was invaluable to me.
Oh, nice.
In the research for this case. So we can cut this out, but or I don't know, maybe everything that I'm going to talk about, they did a 3D rendering of, and or they have actual footage. And that's a lot of what that documentary piece is based on. They have like actual, like, you can describe it like body cam footage.
Oh, okay.
It's not an easy watch because of the body cam footage. And they've done really well to kind of clip in places where it's like based on what's occurring. It's graphic and it's violent. It's all done very clearly to like make the details clear, to drive home certain points, but it's all done in a way that it's not, like I said, gratuitous. But yeah, the further you get into it, the harder it gets to watch.
I can imagine.
Yeah. On the evening of February 19th, 2022, there was a demonstration scheduled to take place starting off at Normandale Park in Portland. That evening, a group of support workers were gathered on the west side of the park in preparation for a Black Lives Matter march they were helping to coordinate. The demonstrators were marching in recognition of the deaths of Amir Locke of Minnesota and Patrick Kimmons from Portland, Oregon. Amir Locke was a 22-year-old Black man who was shot and killed by a Minneapolis police officer executing a no-knock warrant. Though Amir was not the subject of or named in the warrant.
Okay.
They no longer do that type of warrant in Minnesota anymore.
I can't imagine why.
On face value, you can understand the benefit of executing a warrant and like not letting that person. It's like when police show up at a scene without sirens.
Okay. Yeah.
You have like a tactical advantage there, but like once you breach, a dwelling or other building, that person, for all they know, they are literally having to take their own life, their own self-defense into their hands.
I was going to say, that just seems like a good way to get shot.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And unfortunately, that has proven to be the case over and over and over and over again, actually. Patrick Kimmons was a 27-year-old Black man killed by Portland police during a 2018 altercation. The circumstances of that shooting have at times been hotly debated as part of an intense discourse about policing and racial injustice. Forensic architecture used a 3D model of the Normandale Park and surrounding neighborhood to illustrate the events of that day. Their models are intended to be measurable by the millimeter.
Whoa.
So I'm just going to jump into a series of events and introduce the people involved based on the timeline of the night. Pilton arrived at 7 p.m. at Normandale Park, followed by Deja, who got there at approximately 7:15, and the crowd really hadn't begun to gather yet. By 7:24, another corker named Dag arrived and parked next to June's car.
The protective people.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. So
corking
for context,
good, kettling bad.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure in some contexts that kettling can serve a purpose, but I just felt like in the context of this case, it's important that we create distinctions between certain groups.
Okay.
And just visually, and I think it part of me was like, God, do I just make you watch this? Up to a certain point, watch this so that you can really get a lay of the land. Just sort of situationally and to position people. Because it really, to have the visual representation just really changes how you view things, obviously. I mean, it just, So for context, all of these kind of support workers related to the demonstration, they were on the opposite end of the park from where all of the marchers were going to be.
Okay.
Because typically you have like your workers, they're kind of a big part of like the support team. They're kind of on the back end.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Because what they're trying to avoid is what has happened in some of like the worst viral videos about protests where people just come up behind a group that's marching and just plow through them. That type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dake's arrival was shortly followed by another fellow Corker, Hank, at 7:28, who was among the last of the group to arrive and parked next to June's vehicle on the opposite side. I just thought it was really funny. Hank was like, I was like one of the last to show up because I'm always late.
Sounds like us.
Yeah. By 7:31 p.m., a crowd was gathered on the opposite side of the park for the march scheduled to begin at 8 p.m. Smith, who we introduced at the very top, first approached the group of Corkers at around 7:31 p.m. He asked a strange question. How long are you going to be here? He wanted to confirm the itinerary, presumably, which when he was informed that the march was scheduled to begin at 8, he checked the time and walked away from the group. Cass, a street medic amongst the group, said their pre-meet for the march was at around 7:40 p.m. Hope, a volunteer armed guard, said he wasn't aware of anyone else on the organizer team that was openly carrying that night. Hope said they were specifically wearing a badge indicating their role as another street medic. So openly carrying in the sense that they were in no way openly carrying and their duties were clearly designated as a medic. At the pre-meet, Deja informed the group of a change in their route, taking them past unhoused neighbors. And I love this nomenclature because why can't we use language to lead with love?
Neighbors.
Neighbors. Their intention was to keep things relatively quiet in the neighborhood. Right as the group was embarking on the march, Deja and Pilton shared a heartfelt moment. This was just such a close community of people. Todd and Hank were talking as they were preparing to leave, and that's when they saw someone standing by a streetlight that was out.
That's creepy, like super ominous.
The single creepiest visual that I can summon at the moment.
Yeah.
The man appeared unhappy about their presence. The group on the opposite end of the park was alerted by organizers that the march was beginning. Hope stowed their weapon in the trunk of their vehicle as they began hearing raised voices.
Yeah.
Enter an angry, swearing caveman who was informed that the group was leaving, the organizers leading with attempts to de-escalate any brewing situation. So they're like, we're leaving. We're out of here. Like, it's all good. He responded, if I ever see you again, I'm going to shoot you in the head.
Jesus.
Deja reflected with the forensic architecture team that she shared with June's wife. She knew basically immediately this was not an individual that could be de-escalated. That individual was Benjamin Jeffrey Smith. She began recording after about 20 to 30 seconds of the situation seemingly beginning to quickly escalate.
Okay. Good idea, right? Like, get that shit recorded.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think normally once they actually take off on the march, she typically did just run her camera.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
that makes a lot of sense.
She was prepared.
Okay.
The forensic architecture piece then shows some of the footage she captured that evening beginning at 7:57 p.m. Smith then begins to exhibit more physical force in the conflict, beginning by aggressively approaching one of the organizers and then fully charging at them.
Jeez.
he is warned off. That's assault. And I don't want to fight with you. Just go home. Remember that he's already been informed that they are leaving and the organizers already beginning to posture to file out, as they were literally scheduled to do. Deja reflected that it seemed like he was trying to manufacture a stand your ground type scenario.
I was going to say, I've been thinking it just seems like he just wants something bad to happen. Like,
with statements like, make me and let's do this.
They're saying, no, let's not do this.
Yeah, literally. She said, it just felt to me like he was a bomb. She called, they have walkie-talkies. She called, we need de-escalation on the corner of the park. Immediately where the cars are parked. Immediately. Other organizers were approaching from the opposite side of the park in response. It was almost immediately after that he brandished the weapon, quickly firing multiple shots on the group at close range. Calls went out to others in the group. Gunshots, gunshots, gunshots. It was at 7:58 that Deja called for de-escalation. Then within a matter of seconds, he fired several shots. And in the interim, June had stepped up to him. She was probably one of the oldest in the group. And she had physically put herself between him and several others and just was like, this is done. You need to just go home. The guard within the organizers was able to return fire within 7 seconds of the gunman's initial shot. So remember, he's literally put his weapon in the trunk of his vehicle. At this point, I'm through 23 minutes of just under 37 minutes in total that have been a very difficult watch. The guard, Hope, fires twice in response. The shots of the two weapons were indistinguishable to those present at Northeast 55th and Hasselow Street at the southwest corner of Normandale Park that night. Smith responded to the armed guard Hope when questioned about the whereabouts of his gun in the aftermath, pointing toward his left ankle as he lay on the ground and stated, "It's right there, but I wish I still had it so that I could put it in my mouth."
You should have just done that first.
That would have been a lot better for a lot of people. Hope ensured that the weapon was removed from his immediate access. Cass quickly began rendering aid to Daig and Pike, another medic who stated he'd been shot in the head. She was shocked to realize when she looked up that there was a hole in his beanie, and she thought to herself, so you have. And obviously that poor medic was bleeding pretty profusely. When police arrived at the scene, the mood was very tense. Understandably, I think it was a Black Lives Matter protest. The street medic Cass spoke with officers stating, "I'm an EMT. 6 people have been shot. Can I go back to treating my patients?" Video footage of Deja screaming at the officers that they needed help. This is the part that I started really ugly crying. It's pretty heart-wrenching. That was at about 8:10 p.m. Cass was given the go-ahead to continue trying to administer aid to the injured. Officers approached Allie, who had been shot multiple times, asking questions as she sat, likely in shock, in every sense of the word, still seated in her vehicle. Cass told officers, "She's been shot 4 times. You don't need to interview her right now. She needs medical attention." And it's not uncommon for them to try to interview up until the point that EMS arrives, and they're just trying to get as much information as they can.
Yeah.
That's understandable to a point, but when you see it from the other side, of course, it feels very dispassionate.
Especially when someone's been shot that many times.
Yeah.
Like they're...
Yep.
Like my mind isn't even working. I'm just frustrated right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just the idea of the situation is enough to kind of make you just go, like nonverbal and just like, what?
Like you just need to comfort somebody in that state. Like not,
Yeah.
like maybe sit there and talk to them. Maybe not just like bombard them with questions. I don't know.
Yeah. It's tough because you got to thread the needle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, especially someone that's been shot multiple times. You're like, well, we want to get the information so that we can find the person that did this.
Yeah, in case they pass.
Yeah. I mean, and that's an awful thought in that moment.
Well, I just feel like there's some way for training to happen to where like these things can be possible for like sensitivity and getting information. Like, do you don't think there's some sort of way?
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm not a professional. So
yeah.
Whatever.
The first ambulance arrived at 8:14 p.m. and Cass attempted to share what she had observed so far in terms of those that were injured. At that point, she was grabbed by an officer who responded, "I don't care," when she said she was an EMT. "This is a homicide investigation. If you don't get off the scene, you're going to be arrested. Only people actively engaged in medical treatment can be on here." And she was escorted away.
Wasn't that what she was doing? Or no? Am I crazy?
It was.
Okay.
It was to that point. So, yeah, it's hard to say. June T-Rex Knightley, who was shot in the head at close range, died on the scene that night as a result of her injuries. Others that were wounded received medical attention in the wake of the emergency response to the horrific shooting, including none other than Smith himself, who had been shot in both the lower abdomen and bowel.
He's the shooter, right?
He sure is.
Okay.
And I gotta say, for my money, Hope's a good shot.
Yeah.
He fired 2 shots and they both landed.
Hell yeah.
I really hate that this is where part 1 ends. I told you it was going to get a lot worse.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that because nothing about this is good. And I hate to even try to like categorize or.
I want to know what happens to everybody else.
Yeah.
So June passed.
June passed away at the scene.
And she was the elderly woman.
Yes. Yeah. She actually became involved with the group and started corking after she saw a BLM march coming through her neighborhood.
Oh.
And she decided to get involved.
My gosh, she took her job so seriously that
she did.
She stepped in front of a gun for people.
Yeah. And at that point, she was not aware that this man was armed.
Right.
But I mean, somebody behaving erratic and violent.
There's always a chance.
There's always that possibility. Yeah, and if it's not a gun, it could be a knife or.
And I have a feeling that she's maybe not the only person. Well, should we do our tarot for this episode? For part 1? King of Cups. Okay. That's not one we get all the time, but a frequent one. Here, do you want me to set it out on the altar?
Oh, yes. Sorry. I'm a tighter tot.
Look at it real quick. Okay, it's a sea turtle.
Yerp.
I love that it's got like purpley vibes. I was looking at the altar camera and holding up the card to my camera.
Oh.
It matches kind of like our coloring. You've got like blue and green and I've got purple and green.
Oh, yeah. So, King of Cups is interesting. Okay. Keywords are benevolence, culture, creativity, emotional warmth, and protection.
Oh, protection.
And all I can think is what you said about, I'm going to be thinking about June for part 1.
100%. I was thinking about June.
In many decks, this king sits on a throne and wears rich garments and a crown. He usually appears as a benevolent authority, a father figure who rules kindly and fairly. In a reading, the King of Cups may signify an actual person. When he does, it's generally a mature man who's cultured and knowledgeable in the arts.
And we've talked about this before in tarot. They say like man and woman, they really kind of mean like a male energy or a female energy.
Yeah.
And was June a female? I don't really know if.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, technically, maybe who knows what they went by really in their heart.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really know, but
sure.
So, but I kind of was getting like a more of a male vibe from June, like a protector sort of vibe. Not to say like, yeah, you guys get what I'm trying to say, like a masculine.
When the King of Cups appears upright, he represents strong emotions and creative talent. If he represents a real person, it's someone who wants to be loved and admired. He may go to great lengths to gain your attention and affection. Although he's easily hurt, he may not show it and can hold a grudge. He can be rather indulgent and controlling, but his friends can count on his support and protection.
Ooh, part of that though kind of reminds me of like the bad side of that.
Yeah, it's kind of almost like the flip side. Although I could see someone who's like kind of the oldest person in the group kind of being like, we're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
A little bit. And like controlling doesn't necessarily have to be like abusive or bad.
Like a planner.
Yep.
But I'm also thinking about it as like in terms of
it can be representing energy for more than one person.
Yeah, like the man who was being aggressive and things like feelings easily hurt, could hold a grudge, like those things, but like not if you're not like a good positive person, like maybe June was, you could have these similar vibes, but like you could be totally different people.
Yeah.
Like the outcomes are totally different. One's a protector and one is a murderer.
Right. In a reading about money, the king can mean receiving money through a creative venture, or it may suggest your emotions are influencing a financial matter. Sometimes it represents a financial backer. If the rating is about your job, the king can describe a creative occupation. However, he may indicate you're longing for something better. Perhaps you've grown complacent. In a question about love, this card represents a deeply emotional, committed, and romantic relationship. It can suggest jealousy and possessiveness, however, or a need for more trust and openness.
I feel like there needs to be like more trust and openness with the police and the protesters and things like that.
You know, it's funny though, because like the first part of that actually makes me think of June and her partner, just in terms of the deeply emotional, committed, and romantic relationship.
Aww.
Listen, people are complicated mammals, and some of them are good and some of them are less so. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I think that was a good card.
Yeah.
I think what you said too about like being complacent, like maybe just, kind of what we were talking about, like it doesn't affect you. So,
Right. First they came
complacency.
for.
Yeah, exactly. You knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a off mic conversation about.
Oh, I thought that was on mic.
It wasn't.
Oh,
no,
I'm getting my life mixed up.
that was during our snack break.
Oh, well, we were talking about complacency.
Yeah, a little bit. And fascism and Nazi Germany. And
a little light snacking conversation.
Just like a super light combo.
That's funny that I like didn't even realize those are two separate conversations.
It like ties in.
Yeah, it
does. I mean, just so effortless. It's so seamless that, I mean.
And like these people who are organizing protests and demonstrations, like they're not being complacent.
Right.
And they're a lot of the like creativity, you still need like a lot of creativity to organize those things. And
absolutely.
Just the card bit, that's all.
Yeah.
Just tying more shit into the card.
Yeah. I don't know. Part of me was nervous about this case a little bit because certainly it it's centered around more than one politically charged topic. But I feel like, I don't know, hot take here. Maybe don't kill people on the street for no reason.
On either side.
Yeah, just probably don't do that.
Have a creepy ass day.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
Unless you're a fucking murderer.
Yeah. And then we'll see you never, loser.
Get the fuck out of here.
You're not going shopping with us.
On Tuesdays, you wear orange because you're in prison.
Jumpsuit. Get it?